What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American. I'm living back here in Sierra Leone. And if you want to know what I hate about living in Sierra Leone, then this is the video for you. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about what I hate about living in Sierra Leone. There's a lot to talk about. It's been a treacherous 3 weeks, and I'm going to catch you guys all up to speed. But first, let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. You guys are joining on Instagram. I see you guys on Instagram. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're live everywhere. So let me know that you guys can hear me by giving me a thumbs up so I know you can hear me. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? I see a bunch of you guys on Instagram. I see some folks here on YouTube. Okay, Manelik says he can hear me. Cool. All right, so if you guys are watching, and by the way, yes, okay, you guys can hear me. Great. Those of you who are watching on Instagram, you can follow along with the presentation I'm presenting today. If you want to see everything that I'm talking about today, the challenges that I've been dealing with here, then head over to the link in my description. The first link at the top is going to say join us live now. You can click on that and you can watch us live on YouTube. So again, if you're watching on Instagram, just go over to the link in my description, click on that link there. At the very top, it's going to say join us live on LinkedIn. Join us live on YouTube, and you could just hit it and it'll take you directly to it. Maybe I should show you guys on my phone since I'm operating 2 devices here while we're live. But yeah, we're going to get right into it in a second, guys. Just I want to give a second for people to join and for people to jump on over from Instagram to YouTube. So the question that people have been asking me is, what has it been like since I've been here? I've been here almost 3 weeks now. And, you know, do I regret moving has been one question people have asked me. How much do I like it? If I like it. And I got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of challenges since I've arrived, and we're going to talk about them today. We're going to talk about the solutions, but I want to walk you through what's going on. Shout out to everybody who's joined. Shadowboxer's on. What's up to Traverse Culture? Shout out to you guys. I haven't forgot about you guys. What we're going to talk about today has been the reason why I haven't gotten back to you, but don't worry, I'll get back to you in a moment. All right, it's cool. So you guys can hear me. Great. And so, okay, some of you guys are jumping off and jumping over to YouTube. I can see you joining on the YouTube. So this is what it looks like. If you just go to that first link, you click on the link in my description. It says join me live right now on YouTube. Just click that link and it'll take you directly to this live. All right, cool. So we got a lot to cover today. I've been here in Sierra Leone since our Independence Day, which is on the 26th of April. And, you know, I was in for a rude awakening when I arrived. There was a lot that I did not account for, and it's on me for sure. And I did do a live like immediately after landing on my birthday, and I talked about the things that I love about being in Sierra Leone. And I still love being in Sierra Leone, and I would choose this country over any country to live in. However, there are things here that are really challenging, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to go into detail, and specifically based on the decisions that I made. So I want to make sure I give you guys information that you don't make the same decisions that I made, and you don't make the same mistakes that I did, so you can learn from my mistakes. Because when you come to a country like Sierra Leone, you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for a number of different things. You have to have contingencies in place, and especially if you're someone like myself who goes live every week, you have to figure out where you're going to go live from and pray and hope that the light stays on. Because where I am right now is a friend's house who doesn't have a generator or solar. So if light goes, light goes. So, but anyway, if you guys are joining from Instagram, click on the link in my description, join us on YouTube so you can watch along. Okay, so Robert Johnson is asking, I like to travel to Ghana. How would I start paying for a trip to Ghana with travel agent? And I just lost video. A couple different travel agents that you could use, but you can also just do it yourself. It depends on what you want to do and what you like. If you want to do excursions and stuff like that, you can do that as well. But I would recommend just booking it yourself. If you're computer savvy and you can go online and book it yourself, you'll save yourself fees if you book it yourself in general, you know, because they take their own fees and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit more work, but I would definitely recommend booking yourself. All right, cool. All right, that was Ghana. We need to talk about Sierra Leone because we're here. Okay, so let's just jump right into the content because I got a lot to discuss, and it looks like some folks have jumped over. So I don't want to delay too much longer, and I do want to get to this conversation because it is one that requires some context and some explanation. So you guys might have seen that the title of this is "What I Hate About Living in Sierra Leone." And I've done this in Ghana before. I had some challenges in Ghana as well, and we talked about some of the solutions there. We're going to talk about those here too. So let's present. Let's see. Okay, cool. We are live and we are on. That looks terrible. So let me remove that and let me just present. Is there? Okay, I can share a window, which is what I'm going to do. My sister always calls me right when I'm on live every Monday, like clockwork. Every Monday she calls me when I'm on live. And yes, her name is Joanna, and my name is Joannis. I know. People tell me all the time. Yes, I know. And my dad's first daughter's name is Joanne. So yes, that is a thing. All right, so let's get into it. So for those of you who are new, I do go live every Monday at 9 p.m. GMT, which is 5 p.m. currently EST and 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the US. Every single Monday, without fail, I go live. So and we talk about all kinds of different things. We talk about situations like this, what my last couple of weeks have been like. I went live on my birthday. And then I've also gone live to interview folks about their businesses and what it is that they do here. So I go live every single Monday. I also put out videos on Thursday. Sometimes those are interviews. Most of the time they're interviews. And also they could be something educational, like if I went to the Kwame Nkrumah Museum, talking about how the CIA overthrew him, right? Or if I went to the Shy Hills Wildlife Reserve. And then on the weekends, I also do other interviews and other vlogs, my weekly vlogs, what the week has been like and things like that. I also do tours of hotels, apartments, houses, and I also do 10 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. British summertime, is somebody saying. All right, so whatever, GMT, whatever it is, UDT, whatever it is, it's 9 p.m. Ghana, Sierra Leone, West Africa time. Okay, cool. So yes, and I go live on. So I put videos up on Sundays and on Thursdays as well. All right, so that's the process in which I go about putting up content. Let's see, upload times. Okay, so we've gone through that. So yeah, so Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. A couple of things really quickly that I do want to review is the videos that I put out recently. I'm gonna throw them up in the chat. You guys can click open in new tab, so you don't watch it now, but go watch these videos later. So 2 Mondays ago, I went live on my birthday, and that was my first week back in Sierra Leone and my excitement. So you guys can catch that and then watch this separate from that and see how I feel and the differences between then and now. On last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, I put out the video, which was a vlog from my move from Ghana to Sierra Leone, everything that it included, right? So that was packing my stuff, finding someone to buy everything, shipping my stuff, and then the new Freetown International Airport when I landed. So you get a chance to see that. And then last Sunday, or this past Sunday, which is yesterday, I posted a video of my 39th birthday. So my 39th birthday vlog, everything that I did the week of my birthday, which was basically my first week back in Sierra Leone. So check those out. Those links, I just posted them in the chat, so you can check those out after this live is over. All right, cool. So really quickly, a couple people were joined. Nubian Treasures Handcrafted. I like that name. Says peace and blessings. What's up? Anne Marie is correcting themselves saying, sorry, wrong way around. 9 p.m. GMT is 10 p.m. British summertime. Yes. Yeah. So right now it's different between here and the British, but sometimes it is the same time throughout the year, different parts of the year. All right, cool. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Anybody you know who is interested in coming to Sierra Leone and needs to know what I'm going to tell you, because this is well worth the listen. All right, cool. So you guys know I have the website, authenticafrican.com. If you have anything of interest there, you can head over there and check it out. I'm not going to take too much time there because we need to get into what I hate about living in Sierra Leone. Now, again, of course, the title is jarring a little bit, right? But these are challenges that can happen for some folks depending on how you're living. And it could come as a surprise for many. And so I want to make sure that we tell you what my challenges were, why these are my challenges, what the solutions are, and also they're not just challenges for me, but they're challenges for the country as a whole. And we're going to talk about why they are that way. So let's first do a recap, right? So if you guys remember, when I said I was excited to leave Ghana and move to Sierra Leone, the place that I was moving into, there were a number of different things that I was excited about, right? One, 24/7 access to a vehicle. A friend of mine uses a vehicle 24/7, and I am staying in that place. He's a business partner and friend of mine, staying in the place for a couple of months before I move into my own place. But 24/7 access to a vehicle, AC, and competent, sober drivers, right? 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? Business partner as a roommate. So gives us a chance. We never lived in one place or even have been in one place longer than 3 weeks. He's Ugandan, lived in Nigeria for a long time. Now he's living in Sierra Leone. And so he and I can talk about a lot. He has a microfinance business that he has back home in Uganda. And we talk a lot about business. And so, you know, we can bounce ideas off of each other. And we are partners in Launchpad Africa, which you can see the 4 co-founders on the bottom right here. So that's Adjara, Sylvia, Isaac, and myself. And we had our first event or live seminar of this year just 2 weeks ago with a group called Lawyers, where we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about a number of different things. I only focused on the SWOT analysis, but as a group, it was a 2-day seminar. And we covered grant proposal writing and also financial management of that money once you get it. And so these are the things that we can do now that I'm here and I can be there in person instead of doing it remotely or hearing about it. I can actually be there in person and help present and put together the presentations and whatnot. So the 4 of us make up Launchpad Africa, and we also have our other things that we do, but this is the group. And so, you know, proximity to one of our other business partners, Sylvia, doesn't live too far away from where I am. And so it makes it easy for us to all get together and to meet in person. The price of the rent was really low. The previous owner is a friend of theirs who used to work at Standard Chartered Bank. She's now moved to the US, so the apartment was available for us. It was fully furnished, so I thought. It was definitely fully furnished for 1 person, not for 2. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom though. So I got my own bathroom. Isaac has his own. And so we, you know, that was the ideal scenario. If I was going to have a roommate again, even if it's only for 3 months, ideally we have our own separate restroom so that we don't have to fight for access to the restroom. And of course it came with a housekeeper. He already had a housekeeper that he had been working with previously. And so I stepped right into having a housekeeper. So now I can get my fruits and vegetables made and my dinner made and, you know, vegan friendly meals. And it's done like, it's like a smooth transition. I left my housekeeper back in Ghana. She's moved on to new employers. And now that I'm here in Sierra Leone, I needed a new housekeeper. So that's a recap of everything. You'll notice that there's a lot that I didn't think about when I was just looking at these pros and the advantages of moving into my current apartment. There's a couple of comments and questions, so I'm going to get to those before I move on to the next slide. So let's see. Sang Bay says, Joe, welcome back to Salon. I was there in November. Okay, with the this is the African Ancestry, I'm sure, group. It was great to meet you, brother. Oh, yeah, we met. Yeah. What's going on, man? Saying yes. And I interviewed you and a bunch of other folks, 5 other folks. That interview is being edited this week. And so it'll be out in the next like month and a half or so. But yeah, it was great meeting you as well. it's great to meet the Americans who are of Sierra Leonean descent that have come to Sierra Leone to get their citizenship. I'm encouraging everybody who's not afraid to do, African ancestry, to do your African ancestry and to find out if you have any DNA related to Sierra Leone, because then you can get your citizenship, which makes you a dual citizen, which has many benefits, especially across West Africa, because if you want to go to Ghana, you want to go to Nigeria, you want to go to Gambia, you want to go to Senegal, you can go to all those places without having to get an additional visa for each country with you, which you have to do with your U.S. or you can travel around all those ECOWAS countries without having to get a visa, which is why I travel back and forth between Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone. That's where I've been in West Africa. I'm going to Senegal sometime soon. And I have to go back to Nigeria soon too. Okay. All right. Nubian Treasure Handcrafted said, thank you, of course. Who else do we have? Okay. Fatmata says, hello, my dear, watching from London, UK. Thank you for watching from the UK. Tim Black says, happy belated. Thank you. Thank you. It is about 14 days past my birthday, but I appreciate all the birthday wishes that I'm getting because I put up the birthday blog. Mr. Lane is here. What's up? I'm good. I hope you're well too. Some challenges, but we're going to talk about it, but it all is well considering. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Mr. Lane is saying hello to everyone. Cool. Osama says from Saudi Arabia. Shout out to Osama from Saudi Arabia. I think it's the first time we've had anyone from Saudi Arabia join the live. So shout out to you for joining the live. And again, if you're following from Instagram, you can click on the link in my description. And if you want to see it, follow along with what everybody's saying here on the live, and you want to follow along with the presentation, you can click the link in my description. It's the first one there. It says, join us on YouTube Live right now. You can click on that and it'll take you directly to the live. All right. So Osama says, I've been very interested for a while to invest in Sierra Leone in several fields, but I'm afraid of the problems there. So what do you advise me? Thank you and appreciate you. Lots to talk about there. I've had some lives about this before. You can email me though, Osama, and I check my emails twice a week, this particular email. So you just have to bear with me, but I'll get back to you and we can definitely talk about it. Liz Z says, I saw the title. I'm like, wait, you just landed. Yes, I know. I just landed and I already have some things that I hate. I know. So we're going to talk about it. But, of course, this is YouTube. So you have to kind of put titles in that are going to get people to join, right? Of course, that's kind of how it goes. You guys, any of you who create content understand that. But I mean, these are things that I really do hate here. But I still love being here. So I just have to be clear that these are challenges, but you're going to have to deal with them if you come here. Oh, yeah. So Bella is saying happy birthday. Thank you. Happy belated. I appreciate it. Gladys is saying, hey, Joe, watching from Houston, Texas. What's up, Gladys? Thanks for watching from H-Town. My sister lives in Houston, or she used to live in Houston. No, she's back in Houston now. So shout out to Houston. Traverse Culture is asking if we could talk about another country. We will be talking about another country very shortly. When you and I get connected, we will definitely be talking about other countries on live for sure. And that's a little preview to what's to come, guys, but we'll have that conversation for sure. All right, cool. So let's get back to the presentation because there's a lot to cover. Okay, so that's the recap, right? So you guys got it. These were all the things that I was thinking about. Great, all good, right? But now let's get into the issues because I definitely did not think through some of these things. So number one, the accommodations. So let me take a step back actually and say this. The previous owner came from Nigeria, was living here in Sierra Leone, worked at a bank. And so so I expected that there were certain things that she would have in place, which she did. She had internet access already. And she already had the apartment mostly furnished, but it was furnished as a 1-bedroom. And the second bedroom was basically her closet. Right. So I want you guys to understand that was why some of the things were a little bit lacking. So for instance, there is no bed in that second bedroom. And however, there are pull-out couches in the living room because again, she was using that as a closet, but she did buy pull-out couches. And so I've been sleeping on a pull-out couch for like a week and a half. And I'm getting a bed in like this coming week. So that will no longer be the case. But I've been sleeping on a pull-out couch. And I didn't even ask beforehand to think like, is there a bed in the second room? I didn't think to ask if there's an AC. Now, there is a switch for an AC, which is great. So all I got to do is connect an AC. I don't have to do a whole new connection. There's already a switch there. The electricity has already been set up for it. There's just no actual unit in the wall. So that's the second picture you see here where I have this red square. There's nothing there because there's no AC there. But there will be an AC there and that will be coming in the next couple of weeks, maybe next week or so. And then it was a closet. So the picture at the bottom kind of depicts there was some stuff in there. Her stuff was all in there. And then I was there for literally one night, and that next day she was coming back to move all of her stuff out, and she was staying for like 6 days. So for about 6 days, I had to leave and go stay somewhere else, which I found out last minute because I didn't think to ask any of these questions beforehand before I came. I was just like excited to get out of there and go. And because it was going to be a longer term stay, I just jumped out and left. Now, a couple things to be clear on. She just moved out maybe 3 weeks ago. She was out of the country, came back to get her stuff, and then left. Isaac, my business partner and roommate, moved in like 3 days or 2 days before me. So most of this came as a surprise for him as well. And so it was just a lesson that we had to learn in making sure you ask second and third level questions before you do anything. All right, let's see if there are any questions or comments before we move on. Maureen is saying, I plan to visit SL next year. What do you hate about your country? I'll go through it in a second. There's a lot to cover, but I'm also going to tell you what you can do to solve some of these challenges to make sure these aren't challenges for you, especially if you're somebody planning to move. Nubian Treasures Handcrafted said they're in Atlanta, Georgia. Abu Bakar Kamara says, hello, what's up? Fatmata says, I'm planning to relocate to Sierra Leone in a couple of years. Thank you for sharing this wonderful information. You're welcome. This will be exactly what you need to see before you make the move, because this is what I did not do. And so don't do what I did. Do as I say, not as I did. All right. All right, cool. So first things first, as I said, I'm a little worried that the power is going to go out and it can happen at any moment. So the current power situation, these pictures on the right are depicting the black picture. And then there's another picture where I use like a filter so that you can actually see me. I recorded a video, which I'm going to do a vlog on all these challenges and the solutions and everything that I'm putting into place as it's happening. I'll do a vlog on all of that. But I want to just go through it like high level for you guys here, and then what the solutions are. And then the vlog is coming in about a week or so. And then you guys will get all of the details on what I'm doing and what services I'm using and what it's like to get it set up and what it looks like, all of that. You guys are going to get to see that firsthand, just like you saw firsthand what it was like to move from Ghana to Sierra Leone. So you'll get that in real time. The picture on the bottom is another picture, a picture taken from, it's a screenshot of a video I was doing in the middle of shooting a vlog, and the power went out. So that's what you got there. I lose power at least once a day where I stay. If not once a day, once every other day, but every 24 to 48 hours, I lose power, sometimes for an hour, sometimes up to 8 hours. There's no warning before the power goes out. So when it goes out, it goes out. And there's also no schedule. So you're not told like, we're doing some load shedding. Like I hear, I think South Africa and some other countries do load shedding, and they tell you the hours, if I'm not mistaken, when they do their load shedding. And so when you're not going to have power, when you are going to have power, there's no letting you know beforehand, right? So these are the powers with electricity at the house in which I'm currently staying. Let me see if there's any questions or comments before we move on. All right, cool. So obviously that's the first thing I hate, right? It's the fact that we don't have electricity. We haven't figured that out yet. There are some things in place, and we're going to talk about that. So I want to be clear that there are things that you can do personally, and there are things that are being done federally. I guess we call it federally here, that are going to hopefully alleviate these things in the future. But as of right now, this is a major challenge here. So let's talk about it from a federal perspective, right? Now, this picture to the right is explaining the electricity profile in this country. Now, I think this is taken from a couple of years ago, but give or take a couple percentage points, you understand this is what the situation is. 13% have access to electricity, 1% have access to electricity rurally, and 100 or so megawatts, 105 megawatts actually is available of the capacity available. And we'll talk about what that means in relation to other countries. So let me read this. Let me just read this. So the country's energy needs are hugely underserved, and lack of reliable energy supply is a principal impediment to Sierra Leone's development. Electricity transmission and distribution network problems result in losses of around 45% of generated electricity. So there is electricity generated, but there are losses of about 45% of it before it even reaches the homes of folks. The country's installed power capacity per capita is among the lowest in the world, with approximately 105 megawatts available for a population of over 7 million people. And that was in 2018. I think that number is over 9 million people or so now, between 7 and 9 million people, maybe even 10 million people, maybe even more. The average person uses 25 kilowatt hours per year. And so if you think about it, that's 175,000 megawatts per year. And there's only 105 megawatts available currently. Now, I don't know if that's on a monthly basis, but even if you multiply that by 12, that still adds a fraction of percentage of the amount of usage there is. Now, for context, let's look at the US. I know we don't always like to compare apples to oranges, but just for those of you who are in the US and are used to generating power at all times, the US has about 1.1 million megawatts or 1.4 billion kilowatts of total utility scale electricity generating capacity. So that's why you don't really see too many power outages, except for in Texas, because they're on their own grid. So that happens a lot in Texas. But so those of you in Houston can attest to that. But in Texas, they're on their own grid, so they lose power. They also have a number of different power sources, right? They do nuclear power, and they have other power as well, where our power is not generated from nuclear power, which is probably the strongest. And there is an argument to be made that everywhere should be using nuclear power, even though it can be dangerous if not handled correctly. All right. So what else do we have? Maureen says it's time to purchase a generator or go solar. Oh, we're going to get to the solutions in a moment. Don't worry. Spirit Warrior says, greetings, I'm late. What's up, Spirit Warrior? When are you coming back to Sierra Leone? Definitely let me know. South Africa does load shedding, but I hear they don't really stick to the schedule. Okay, good to know. Spirit Warrior says, going to get diesel generator. I'm planning a 4-month trip. Nice. Let me know when you get here for sure. Fatimata says, my son lives in Dallas, Texas, so I'm sure your son is familiar with the power outages that they've had as of recent. Liz Z says, I like solar generated batteries, example, Jackery or Blue Tea. Okay, I'm not familiar with those, but we're going to talk about some of the other companies. I know some people who have Easy Solar and work at Easy Solar, so we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about some of the other solar companies. Again, if you're joining from Instagram Live and you want to follow along with the comments and the presentation, just click on the link in my description. Click on that first link when you get there, and it'll say join us on YouTube Live. That'll take you right to the YouTube Live so you can watch live along with us. Okay, so 24 is here. What's up, 24? I was just reading your comment about flying business class. You're an interesting character, but funny. I like your style, man. I like your style. 24. What's up, 24? All right, cool. So so this is the electricity issue in the country as a whole. And so we'll talk about solutions in a moment, but these are some of the issues. So I'm starting with issues in the house, issues as a country as a whole, and then we will get to the solutions. And then after that, we'll talk about the lessons that I've learned. Because you know me, I don't just complain. I tell you guys solutions. Make sure you understand there are things that you can do to solve some of these issues. All right, the next issue is the internet. And I live on the internet, as you guys know. I have a growing Instagram page, multiple Instagram pages. I also have the YouTube platform where I go live every week. And as you might have noticed, this is the second location. This is the third location in 3 weeks that I've gone live from, because I do not have reliable internet service at home. So currently we have Africell. You can see this in the image here, Africell here. And I have my Wi-Fi extender. I use Eero. I guess shout out to Eero, quick plug for Eero, I guess. I heard an ad for it on a podcast when I was in the States, bought it when I was in the States, brought it with me here. It does work here and it does help extend your Wi-Fi if you have a weak signal. But it can't help it if the internet isn't working at all, right? So as you can see, there's a red light that's on, and that red light comes on once an hour. So if I'm in the middle of uploading a video to YouTube, it gets disrupted. If I'm in the middle of downloading a video from somewhere, it gets disrupted. Or if I'm uploading it to Google Drive from my editor, it gets disrupted all the time. And certain things that you do when it gets disrupted, it fails, and then you have to start the process all over again. So the internet's already slow and it has interruptions. So it can take like a 6-minute video, for instance, took me 3 hours to upload to a particular site that I use to help cut my videos into shorts and into clips. And then to download it, I had to attempt it three different times, and then I just left and had to go do it out of the Radisson Blu, which also, by the way, took 2 hours to upload that video to that site. So those are some of the issues. As you can see, I've screenshot connected without internet. Internet not available. Internet not available. Connected without internet. By the way, all of these are fully charged with internet. Like, I've topped it all up. I have an unlimited plan with QCell, and that's the MiFi device there on the right. And I have this in the house. So yeah, I'm using the QCell MiFi, which came highly recommended to me, by the way. But I was told, I went to QCell yesterday and they told me, oh yeah, you weren't on 4G. So we added you to 4G, but it hasn't been working since. So the lights are all on. You can see the lights on. But whenever I use it, it just doesn't seem to be working. So I have to use other people's MiFis or go to locations where I can use the internet. So it's been a bit challenging, to say the least, but it is what it is. Now, I know this is QCell. There are two other major companies here who have MiFi devices that I could purchase. Africell has one, which many people live and die by Africell. So many people tell me Africell is great. It just is expensive. And then there's also Orange. Orange Telecom is the phone company that I use. And so I was like, okay, I'll get an Orange MiFi. Well, there's some challenges with MiFi shortages in the country, and I think I know why. So in late 2020, well, actually, before we get into this, were there any more questions? Yeah, let me get to some of the questions and comments from this last slide first before I get into that. Okay, let's see. There's a lot here. Spear Warrior said, solar panels I saw in country were outdated. There are other companies that have solar panels though. 24 says, once you fly business class, you won't go back. I have flown business class before, just not internationally, but I've definitely flown business class between like LA and San Francisco, LA and New York. I used to fly business class all the time. Now I'm watching my coins. You know, I'm not making the same amount of money I was making back then. So I don't fly business class as much anymore, but I've definitely flown business class for sure. Minyard Reddick says, hey, sorry if you're having a rough time, but it'll be all right. Oh, it'll definitely be all right. I really did this so I can help everyone else understand what they should do if they're planning to move. I'm really great here. To be fair and to be clear, I love being here. I just hate these particular issues, but I got solutions for them, and I'm going to talk to you guys about them in a second. So just to be clear, I know I put that in the title, but I really want to be clear. Like, the idea was just to get as many people to join as possible so that you can learn what you can do so you don't make the mistakes I did. But I'm good though. I'm good. Trust me. I would not change it for the world. I'm glad to be here in Sierra Leone. Spear Warrior said he's going to get lithium batteries with solar in the future. All right, nice. Fatmata says, do you have reputable real estate agent you can share with me? I do. Email me and I will do that. My email is authenticafricanlife@gmail.com. I'll send you their contact information. Liz Z says, those batteries are popular among the van life community and they do paid sponsorships, hint, hint. Yeah, I mean, if in fact they deliver to the continent of Africa. I've looked at some of those, and some of the challenges are getting them here, and there's a lot to talk about there. That's a whole nother thing, but yeah. Fiber channel internet available for Freetown, about $100 a month. It is. We'll talk about that in a moment. Fiber in Bo. Also, I was told, yes, fiber is available in Bo. Manelik says, is QCell a Sierra Leone-based company, and is it available in any other countries? I don't know if it's Sierra Leone-based, but I don't think it's available, at least not the other countries that you're as familiar with. I know you're of Ghanaian descent. I don't think, QCell is definitely not available in Ghana. I've never seen it anywhere else, but I've only been to Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. And maybe, but I haven't seen it anywhere else. But I think a quick Google search would let you know, but I don't think it is. Orange is available in other countries though, because that's a French company and they just expanded across the continent. Maureen Ed says, does the hotels have stable Wi-Fi for their customers? Yes, many of them do. I can only speak from my own personal experience, and whatever. Pearl Hotel definitely does. Atlantic Lumley definitely does. Sierra Palms was pretty good too. But yeah, I think you could just check. Just check their reviews online. You can go to TripAdvisor and just check them out online, and they'll tell you. But yeah, most of them do. So this is really something you should know if you're staying here long term. If you're coming to visit, and you're going to stay at a hotel, then you'll be fine. Now, if you're staying in an Airbnb, you also need to think about this, because an Airbnb means it's somebody's house, and it depends on what they pay for, what internet they have. So these are things you want to check before you come and stay at an Airbnb if you're going to stay in an Airbnb. International business class is very nice, but I have better use for that money. I agree. Few battery companies in China told me they don't ship to Sierra Leone. Yeah, that's some of the challenges here is shipping to this country. So a lot of times it makes more sense to buy in country, which we'll talk about some of the options that are here, than to buy elsewhere. And I know people who've also just bought their own. Like my cousin is from the UK. He bought, Let me shout out Stafford Lodge too. That's my bad. Shoot, Bebop, Rocksteady to Batch. It's a lot there. I don't know what Shoot, Bebop, Rocksteady. I know I'm messing it up, but it must mean something. But Stafford Lodge also has Wi-Fi, and that is Sierra Leonean and Black American owned. So I got to shout them out. Can you post your email address? Lenora, can you rephrase that question? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question. But what's up, Lenora? Thanks for joining. Lenora's always been great. 24 says, I've only flown on international flight, and this is what I got. A 3-course meal, business lounge with all you can eat drink, and no queuing. Cubicle seats that convert into beds with TV. Yeah, I mean, the converting into beds with TV is the big one. I definitely would say 3-course meal, I haven't gotten. You get a meal, international flights. I do go to the business lounge, and I pay $25 myself when I'm flying from Ghana. I always go to that lounge. I go to the lounges myself, so I tend to do that. Shoot Bebop says, you good, bro? I'll change it. Cash says, I'm looking forward to using my credits, card miles, points to fly business class internationally. Nice. 24 says, I was shocked when I found out Seacoast was a Nigerian firm. Yes, Nigerian. And Seabird, I think it's Chinese. But Aberdeen Water Taxi is Sierra Leonean owned. Most people don't know about it because they're not as well known, and the other two are kind of like pushing them out. But if you want to support a Sierra Leonean company that will take you from Lungay to Freetown, Aberdeen Water Taxi is that company. Look it up on Google. It's all there. Can you put your email address in the chat? I see. Email address in the chat as we speak. Authentic. You know what? Let me just do this. I'm going to put a banner up, and that will have my email address on it. My Zelle and my email address is the same, so you'll just see it there. If you just want to email me, you could see it there. So yes, just put up my email address. And of course, also if you want to support with Cash App or Zelle, you could do that too. All right, QCell are in Gambia as well. There you go. QCell's in Gambia. All right, there you go. All right, so let's get back to the challenges, the issues, because there are many, and I just want to get through them. Okay, 24 is also another pitch for business class. Before we move on to the next, we also got a gift as we left the place. Maybe it was a festive thing. I can't imagine another experience, especially when traveling to Sierra Leone. Okay, there you go. That's 24's reason for flying business class. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get back to it. Oh, and 24 is excited about Aberdeen Water Taxi. Yes, so that's the way you spell it, Aberdeen Water Taxi. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, check it out because it is Sierra Leonean owned. So if you want to contribute to helping the Sierra Leonean business, that's one. There's a couple of questions that came up in the Instagram, and I'm seeing it. I don't want to get veer too far off, but they're important because they have to do with this conversation. So Money Ain't Power says, do you believe in African ancestry? I do. Genealogy tests are flawed in many ways, but at the end of the day, what I believe in it is you will know how much of a connection you have to different tribes on the continent of Africa, at least in terms of those people who are in those places in present day. And why else I believe in it is because it will allow you potentially to get Sierra Leonean citizenship if you have any one of the tribes in Sierra Leone in your blood and in your DNA. So for no other reason but those two reasons, or the last reason really, I believe in it. Why not? So yeah, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you want to start traveling around West Africa and all in one trip and you want to make it easy. And dual passport privilege is a privilege. I mean, having an American blue passport is hugely important, but then also being able to travel around West Africa easily. And especially during the time of the global sickness, we had lower pricing for the testing and different things that you get benefits from being an ECOWAS passport holder. All right, let's get back into the presentation. Here we go. So the MiFi shortage. So NatCom, which is the National Telecommunications Commission, issued this statement on the 21st of October, 2022. And it was a press statement, and it was called the Floor Price for Data and the Finance Act, 2022, Salon Gazette, volume, I don't know how to read that Roman numeral. It's very long, but number 2. And it says the National Telecommunications Commission, NatCom, has been inundated with concerns from the public about the floor price of basically 18 old leones per megabyte of data as stipulated by the Finance Act of 2022. So this came from the Finance Act. Being a carrying commission, the relevant stakeholders are being engaged on this, and the public will adequately be informed of the outcome. NatCom will remain vigilant in enhancing and ensuring customer satisfaction. Nonetheless, the Finance Act did create a tariff on data. And so that led to mobile data prices rising by, for some, if not most, more than 150% for mobile users, obviously causing disruptions to people's everyday use. So instead of using mobile on their phones, many people started going and buying MiFis. I don't know why, but the companies here, I guess they didn't have a system for continuing to bring in logistically more Wi-Fi devices. And so as we speak, I can only speak for Freetown. I don't know if it's the whole country, but Africell and Orange have both run out of MiFis in Freetown. MiFis in Freetown. I've gone to 4 different locations, 2 different companies, sent someone else to different locations, and they've all said the same thing. They say, we don't get time, we don't get. Not even just, we don't have it here, we don't have it here in Freetown. And so obviously that's an issue, because if this one's not working and I want to use a backup like Orange or Africell and they don't have them, then I have to come to somebody else's house to go live. So that basically created an increased demand from MiFi units, and that's why there aren't any in country. But just 3 weeks ago, my cousin, who just arrived here and he's been staying here for a little while, he just went and got an Africell MiFi, but they don't have them today. And that was a very discouraging 3 days, going to all those different locations and finding out that there weren't any. That is what it is. It's just, that's the situation as presently constituted. So I just got to deal with it. So for those of you who are coming, you may want to try to get someone to buy one for you once they become available, because you don't know if they'll run out at any time in the future. Ideally, they'll make sure that there are many. But yeah. So there's a quick question from Spaceman. He said, what's the name of the Ancestry tribe? I know my tribes, well, a couple of them. So to answer that question for you, I am, in order of the highest, I am, and at least the tribes that we can name, Mende is 12.5%. I am Yoruba, 12.5%. I'm Creole, 25%. Yoruba, 12.5%. And I am Liberian, 25%, if I haven't already said that. And then I'm also Mandingo, 12.5%. That should equal 100, but that's the mix. So I'm from all over the place. And then with the Creole tribe and Liberia as more than 25%, none of us know where we came from unless we do African ancestry, because those were groups of freed enslaved Africans who moved back to the continent, right? Some from America, that's where they ended up in Liberia, and then many of them from Nova Scotia, Canada, which is where they ended up in Freetown. And so, yeah, so that is the mix. So technically Sierra Leonean, but if you look at all the different tribes, they come from a lot of different places and ended up in Sierra Leone over the last 100 years. And in fact, my last name, Hotagwa, in Mende means tall stranger, and that's supposed to be the Mende family. So it leads me to believe that that family actually migrated to Sierra Leone from somewhere else as well. Still working on figuring that out, but don't want to get too far off on a tangent. Let's get back to this. Let's see if there are any other questions really quickly. All right, there's a lot here. Okay. Shoot, Bebop says government funds go into genetic research. I can guarantee you they will not put their money into that if scientists were playing around. Okay. 24. Okay. I'm going to skip that 24. Maureen Ed says, is the service at that Aberdeen water taxi comparable to the competitors? Yeah, it's the same. It's the same price, same service. It's in Aberdeen, so it's not too far from Seacoach. It's actually maybe 5 minutes from Seacoach. They're actually pretty close to each other. But yeah, the service is comparable. I will say the last time I rode on Seacoach, they had a person come up and talk to us, apologize for the delay, told us the length of time it was going to take. It was new. It was different. They taught us about where the life vests are and all of that, which was not a thing before. It was like you got on the thing and you went. But now they've increased the service. So that's good. 24 is saying, hit that thumbs up. Yes, Fambu. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button. And of course, share this with people who you know who might be planning to move. All right, Maureen is asking, is the ECOWAS passport a passport book or a passport card? It is a passport book currently. They've talked about making it a passport card eventually. Spear Warrior answered that question. Lenora says, can you get a MiFi hardware in the US? You can. So just like you can buy a phone and you can buy an unlocked phone and put any SIM card in a phone when you travel outside the country, you can do the same thing with these MiFi devices. So you can buy a MiFi device that's unlocked, bring in a SIM card locally. I don't know how great it's going to work. You know, that's the thing that you're going to expect. You absolutely can do that. Just like you could do with a phone, you could definitely do it with a MiFi device. I've actually thought about doing that and buying them and supplying them as a business, you know, buying in bulk and supplying them as a business. That's in my mind is something I might be doing. So stay tuned. Yas Chosen actually answered the question that was asked earlier. Fatimata says, Orange MiFi was great when I visited in 2021. IAS Production says, Unakushe or Fambolem. Yes. Sorry, my Creole is like, just disregard. Yeah, what's up? 24 says they're 100% Creole. Famata says I'm Mende Mandingo tribe. Nice. So same. Yas Chosen said 100% Mende. Just got to kill a bug real quick, you know, because that's the life here. Are you from Kenema? I am not from Kenema, but I have family in Kenema, and there is a Hotagwa Street in Kenema. So yes, if you're familiar with Kenema. Warrior says, I'm 100% maternal. Got it. Maureen Ed said, when you travel to the U.S., do you use your U.S. passport and leave the U.S. And your SL passport when you arrive in Sierra Leone, or ECOWAS to move around the continent, or at least West African countries? Great question. So, okay, real quick sidebar for this question, because it's a good question. So for those of you, we'll get back to some of the challenges. When I enter in the US, I always use my US passport, of course, because yes, when I travel to Europe, I use my US passport. When I travel to Egypt, I used my US passport. If I was to travel to Tanzania, I would use my US passport, because US passport has privileges in those countries that West Africans do not. I know it sounds crazy for other African countries, but that's the way it works. So if you go to Egypt or Tanzania with your Sierra Leone passport, you have to get a visa. So East African countries and North African, East African, and South African countries tend to require a visa. You could do visa on arrival a lot of times with your US passport. So It is what it is. That's just what it is. So I use my US passport when traveling to those places. When I travel around West Africa, I use my ECOWAS passport. I only use my ECOWAS passport when I'm traveling around West Africa, and I tend to only use my US passport when I'm traveling to anywhere else outside of West Africa. 24, Cecil, it wasn't even a country. It was a trading port of various cultures, meeting. Okay, this is talking about our history. 100% Mende, I'm excited to become a citizen in 2024. Thank you, African Ancestry. Nice. Spirit Warrior said, Maureen, don't wait, go in December. December is a better time to come. Maureen, cool becoming a citizen is what y'all chosen saying. Mende Mama here, what's up? Highly favored. 24 supported the channel. Thank you very much. You got to read all my comments. Keep up the valuable live streams. I can't read all your comments, bro. Sometimes you say things that I do not want to read. It's not relevant to the discussion, but I do appreciate your participation for sure. And thank you for supporting the channel for sure. I really do appreciate it. IS Production says, next month is presidential election. Wait to travel there after that. That's what a lot of people are saying. Bro, I forgot this was John. John is a Nigerian who likes to troll all other countries but Nigeria. So we're gonna skip John's responses. Wait to visit Wi-Fi. What is the best Wi-Fi recommended in Sierra Leone? So most people say Africell MiFi's, Orange for your phone service because you can use Orange Money and most people have Orange Telecom on their phones. So that's what most people recommend. All right. We took a little bit of a detour, so I apologize, guys. But I wanted to answer all your questions. So let me move back to the presentation so that we can answer we can get to some of these issues and then some of the solutions. So water, water was an issue. So this I was not aware of before I arrived. And water is not an issue for everybody, and it's never been an issue for me. Everywhere I've ever stayed when I came to Sierra Leone, it's never been an issue, but it was an issue this time. So here's the current water situation at home. Turn on the tap, no water's running, right? There are 2 tanks on the compound. My mom is also calling. I'll have to reply in a moment. There are 2 tanks on the compound. There's a main tank that's for the compound, and then there's a tank specifically for our unit. There's no water in our tank for our unit because the previous tenant mentioned that she filled it up and it would run out within like 24 hours. So she felt as though there was some kind of leak somewhere. The other tank in the compound has never been cleaned. It's really dirty. Like somebody needs to go inside it and like scrub it, rinse it out, wash it out. Like it's really dirty and it captures rainwater. It's never been cleaned. So most people just open it up like a tap and then pour it into the toilet and use it for the toilet. We're going to change all that. We're redoing all of that because we'll talk about that in a moment. So what that means is we have to buy water. So you see these canisters here, 3 up at the top, and then another 3, plus there was 1 outside that you can't see. And then there's 2 here that I borrowed from my next door neighbor. Excuse me, sorry. This is my housekeeper, and she went to go fill up the water this morning because there's someone nearby who has their giant tank, and they fill up their tank. They have a Bowser come, they fill up their tank, and then they make sure that everybody in the neighborhood knows that they can go buy water from them. So that's what we did. We bought water from them. So all of that process is going to be in the vlog. I'll show you guys that later. So let's talk about issues with water currently in the country as a whole. Okay, well, actually, there's a question about the tank in particular. So, but before I get there, 24 was laughing because I don't want to read all his responses. Maureen Ed says, is the word on the street stating that the current president will probably win the next election? Oh, you don't want me, I don't want to get into that. No politics on this live. But some people think that, yes. Incumbents tend to win. Here or abroad, incumbents tend to win. It's very rare that incumbents lose for many reasons, but incumbents tend to win, you know. Sang Bay sent a $10 tip. Thank you very much. Appreciate. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Formerly known as Mario, if I'm not mistaken, right? Spirit Warrior says, what's with having tanks and not connecting them? Experience that in Bo. That's a great question. I don't know. I guess they just bought that extra tank just to capture rainwater. Wait, did you just take it back? I think I guess they do it to just capture the rainwater and then didn't want to connect it. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this question, Maureen. I'll have to check on that. But I would say in general, most people do support it overall. But I don't want to get too deep into the different sides and who believes what, because I don't want to get an issue. Stay clear of politics and you'll be fine. That's what everybody says here. And yeah. IAS Production says, I love drinking white rainwater. I think depends on how clean the atmosphere is. Depends on how much rainwater I'm going to be drinking. If I'm in Fiji or if I'm in a rainforest somewhere, yeah, I'll drink the rainwater. I don't know about here, considering the smog and everything in the air from some of these older and these diesel vehicles and all the generators. I wouldn't recommend drinking rainwater here, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm definitely not an expert. Highly Favored said, Lord, my birthplace, but OMG, it's very stressful. Thought my brother that was born in the US has been there for 7 years. Yeah, we have some challenges, to say the least. All right, cool. So let's get back to it. So the current water situation in Sierra Leone is as follows. So current water supply in Sierra Leone is characterized by limited access to safe drinking water. Despite efforts by the government and numerous non-government organizations or NGOs, access has not much improved since the end of the Sierra Leone Civil War in 2002, stagnating it at about 50% and even declining in rural areas. Nearly 90% of Freetown's water is sourced from the Gouma Reservoir, which has a storage capacity of more than 20 million cubic meters and a depth of 66 meters. The Gouma Reservoir is impounded by the Gouma Dam, an earth-filled dam constructed between 1961 and 1967, located 15 kilometers south of Freetown on the Gouma River. What's important to note, the reason why I gave you all of that, especially those dates, is because much of the facilities at the Gouma Reservoir have not been updated since the time that it was constructed between 1961 and 1967. However, there is the Freetown Water Project that's ongoing to improve access to water, and that has been running since 2017, and light has gone. Perfect example of what I have been telling you guys about light going. There you go. This is exactly what I was talking about. Light will go in the middle of the live. So luckily we have a solar fan here with a little bit of light on it. So let me move it closer to myself. So yeah, lights don't go. So we don't get lights. So that is the situation. See, I told you guys, one of the challenges here is electricity. And I did say I was worried that we could potentially lose light, and we did lose light. And John, by the way, the Nigerian John, who's always bigging up Nigeria has light issues too. Let's be very clear. Let's be very real about that. Okay, so I wanted to go into this article because I thought this was interesting. So first of all, the water company here is called Gouma, the Gouma Water Company. And they do pump water to many different locations, but wherever I am, for whatever reason, water does not come there. And where I'm building, there's also only 2 days a week does water come there, and it comes very sporadically and not much. But one of this article, it's from 2020, so it's 3 years old, but it mentioned that they needed $1 billion to improve access to drinking water. The deputy manager at the time told journalists that the company needs $1 billion to achieve its target of adequately supplying clean drinking water across the capital. Needed to provide about 600,000 people living in Freetown, and that was what was needed, was the $1 billion US. But this demand has grown over the last 2 decades. Oh, sorry. It was originally built to be able to supply 600,000 people across living in Freetown. As far as I understand, there's between 1 and 3 to 5 million people living in Freetown at the moment. So it was made for 600,000 people. There are anywhere between 1 and 5 million people in Freetown. So you can imagine, oh, light's back. Let there be light. Wow, look at that. It goes, it comes, and it goes again. But it's here. Let me try to turn on this. The ring light. There we go. We're back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, okay. Highly favorite said meant to say though instead of thought. Okay, got it. 24 says, I believe it's advised to filter rainwater before drinking. Yes. So that is one thing that most people do advise. You do filter it out before you drink it. Salon for you, my brother. Water is a major issue. Yes. Miss Elaine says, I'm sorry, Joe. This is how it is. Spirit Warriors says I loan electricity. So Spirit Warriors been here a couple of times. Highly favored said, God, please help this country in 2023. IAS Production said, light don't go. Yes, it did. It came back though. That's rare. It's rare that it goes and comes right back. So appreciate it. So you guys can see me again. I was shocked about the amount of trash in the sea. That is a big problem. That is a big problem here. There is a lot of trash in the sea because people here, like many other places in the world, just throw their trash out and it gets washed into the sea and then ends up on the shores and still lives out in the sea. It's really bad. It's really bad. Maureen says, thank you for this channel. I recently found your channel and find it very informative. Perhaps my family and I can meet you when we come next year to become citizens and do the naming ceremony. Likely will meet me because I've been trying to talk to the folks at African Ancestry and some of the other folks to meet with their folks and interview them. So yeah, I'd love to meet you when you come. Shoot says, thank you, brother, of course. Antonio says, water, electricity, food are essential necessities to live. They have to do better in West Africa. Yes, we do have to do better in West Africa. All right. So we talked about the problems. We talked about what I hate. Of course, we cannot leave without me giving you guys solutions and what I think my personal solutions are what I recommend for you all. I don't want to be the person that moves to the continent and is the American that's always complaining, right? Although it might seem that way, and some of my comments, people say that, I always use YouTube as a way to draw people in. So I title things like what I hate about Sierra Leone. I title it that way to draw people in so that I can teach a lesson, right? So ideally, if I said, here are the things you can do to improve your everyday existence in Sierra Leone, how many of you would have clicked that video? Now, I'm sure some of you would, but not as many of you have, because I will say right now, we've consistently had between 90 and 100 people on this live. And the last time we've had this many people on a live was when I mentioned some of the challenges I was having in Nigeria, because all the Nigerians joined to scold me and tell me how crazy I am about talking negatively about Nigeria, which I love Nigeria as well, by the way. But I just had one challenge. So clearly the title worked. So I want to be very clear. That's why I did it. But honestly, I brought you here to talk about this part. This is the main reason why I titled it that way, because I think it's important for you all to learn from these mistakes and you guys can do better than what I did. And I'm also launching a consulting service very soon. And so I'll be able to help with some of these things so that if you're planning to move, it makes it a smoother transition and a softer landing. All right, so let's get to the solutions. Let's get to that. So the first solution, someone mentioned this, is generators. Here are some of the different types of generators. The one at the top is a more common type of generator you might see here for smaller locations and it's just cheaper. You even have these that look like these in Ghana, and I've seen some of these in Nigeria as well. And then you have this other one, this one that's considered a quote unquote silent type, even though they're not really that silent. But these generators I've seen in all three of these countries as well. You've seen the mobile style. I've seen those, the lighting tower generators. I've actually seen those in the US. You have the small power open type, and you have the container type, the giant container type generators. Generally, a generator is loud and can disrupt your sleep in the middle of the night. It is loud. And some people get used to it and sleep through it. Other people don't. I know people who have issues with the generators all the time, so they just don't buy a generator and use it. One of the other challenges is it does require fuel, and they're diesel. So there's two issues with that. One, if there's a fuel shortage, like there was last year, and I dealt with the fuel shortage in 3 countries, and it negatively impacted my access to light in all 3 countries. It started when I was in Nigeria. There was a fuel shortage. So the place that I was staying, they were rationing when they would run their generators. But at least they told us. They said, okay, from these hours, we're going to run our generators. These hours, the generators are going to be off. And because there was no light for extended periods of time, you had 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 2 hours on, 2 hours off. When I got back to Ghana, the apartment that I was living in, they said the fuel cost is too high. They didn't want to add new fuel. They were rationing the generator, so they never ran the generator. So I ran out of fuel. I ran out of light sometimes in Ghana. It happens there as well too. Not as often as some of the other West African countries, specifically, let's say Sierra Leone and Nigeria, but Ghana does actually lose light. And in certain pockets and sectors, it does. And it kept happening where I was in Chado frequently. And so I kept running into that issue. And so obviously, and then of course, if the cost of fuel goes up, then you have to pay more for fuel, and it's not eco-friendly, right? Diesel generators produce toxins such as carbon dioxide, particulate matter, and nitrogen oxide. Once these toxins are released into the atmosphere, they can negatively impact human, plant, and animal health. If you're concerned about environmental well-being, it might be wise to consider other alternatives. However, it can be cost-effective, and generators tend to be able to power most of the things you need, depending on the size of the generator and which generators you use. Especially if you use this one that's a bigger one, that's like the one that says the silent type one. I've used those to run AC. Shout out to the dog that's barking outside. Sorry, guys, if you guys can hear that. I've used that to run AC and other machinery. And I've also stayed in places where they run a generator, but they don't use the AC on it because they don't want to run out of fuel because the fuel cost is so high. So many of the generators can power AC, but it just uses up so much power. And if you don't have backup fuel sources, right, like in jugs nearby, and then you got to go figure out how to go get fuel, then that's going to be an issue. But I don't recommend generators for the eco-friendly reason, which I just talked about, and also the fuel issues. But if you want to, by all means, that is one of the options. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. Let's see. So what's the solutions Kay was asking? Well, we're getting you the solutions right now. Highly Favored says, as much as we love our country, sometimes it's shameful. Sometimes the challenges can feel that way. Jail says, idea for your next video, please do talk about solar energy and what possibilities there are in the country. I will, actually. That is actually on my list of things to talk about. I am going to do the different solar companies that are here. I prefer to be an affiliate of one so I can get paid if you guys end up buying one. But anyway, I will do the solar options. And I'm going to talk about a couple here too, but I'll do a deeper dive for sure. I'll talk light off any day than been stuck in that overhyped village. Oh man, I forgot. Sorry, I shouldn't have. Negative sell. Spirit Warrior is right. I mean, yes, it does. That's why everybody's here, right? Because I said I hate what I hate about Sierra Leone, but I still love it here. So for sure. Highly Favored said love from Brooklyn, New York. Thanks, Highly Favored. Kay says, what about solar? We'll get into that in a second. Spirit Warrior said, fuel shortage in January when I was there. It was in the lines or the queues at the fuel stations or the gas stations were crazy. Alpha Boss says, hi, boss, I need your help. Shoot me an email. Let's talk. James says, solar energy seems to be the simple solution to the energy problems in Africa. Why is it not widely used? It is more widely used than other parts, like let's say like Latin America or North America. Much more used on the continent here than there. But it's not ubiquitous, as the word is. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah. It's not ubiquitous yet, but it is getting there. And they're making more cost-effective solutions and better solutions for people to be able to use it. Because of the dog that was barking, 24 said, I saw so many dogs out in the streets in Salone, but didn't hear a single bark. Oh, yeah. Well, this one is in the compound. The ones in the compound work and act as security, so they bark. They bark at people. Jackery and EcoFlow, those are battery generators. Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so I'll look into those. Let me screenshot that comment because I need to check that out. Use my JC power to bypass the lines. Okay, at the fuel stations. Interesting. Shout out to JC Power, I guess, right? JC Power and Associates. Anyway, all right. The solutions: power, solar, right? So this was one that you guys are asking about. So here's some of the solutions that are available. That should say Easy Solar, not Ease V. The Y is cut off because I didn't realize that I put this over top of it, but you get the idea. So there's a couple of major organizations here. There's Easy Solar, which I actually applied for the country manager position and didn't get it, but I am going to be interviewing the chief commercial officer. Spoke to the CEO. I'm going to interview the chief commercial officer sometime in the next couple of weeks so they can talk about this business. But it's an interesting business. They came up with it in business school at Columbia University, came here and established a business. They have the most market share in the country, and they have affordable payment plans. I have heard some skepticism about the strength of the batteries, but I don't have any personal experience. It's just somebody tried to tell me that, so just take that with a grain of salt. Orange is another company. They're the phone company here, or phone company really based in France, but also have they're also doing business here in a few other countries. They have a solar company that I think in at least 5 other major markets outside of Sierra Leone, and they're working to start to gain some market share here. There is Ancestry from Nigeria. It's a more expensive solution, but they have a complete off-grid solution. So they have this $3,500 solution where you get 24/7 solar power, 10 lights, you get 2 fans, you get a USB charger, you get CCTV, you get a home panic alarm, you get internet connectivity, and you get a smartphone. And then there's some other benefits. And then for like 10,000, as far as I understand, you can completely go off the grid and you can just use Exergy completely by itself. A friend of mine knows the owner, and he and I has discussed this. But that is a newer company here in Sierra Leone. And then lastly, there are people, just vendors who sell batteries and sell panels, because really that's what solar is. It's battery, lithium-ion battery with storage, and all you're doing is charging that battery during the day and then utilizing that battery's electricity at night or when the power goes out, right? So that's all it is. Solar today is not enough, just the solar itself, to power a house. It needs to charge a battery, and then the battery is what you use. So I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but I was 29 or 30 years old when I found that out. I found that out about 10 years ago when I started coming here. I was like, oh, I had no idea that that's what it was. Maybe not even 10 years ago. It's probably even more recent than that. But yeah, it's just charging a battery and then making the battery available for usage. All right, let's see if there's any other questions or comments before we move on. Okay. Sick Lion says, good afternoon from Alaska. What's up from Alaska? Spear Warrior says, dogs in the street don't want no problems, so they don't bark. Yeah, they're very quiet. They're just street dogs. They're not the same kind of street dogs you would imagine, like from like Heathcliff and those kind of cartoons where you're worried about, scared of dogs. The dogs in the street they kind of just leave you alone. And like same thing with the beach dogs. They might try to get some food from you, but they'll leave you alone. How long are you going to stay in Freetown? Indefinitely. This is my new home for now. Highly Favored said, just subscribe to your channel. Thanks for the subscription. And if you're not subscribed, because I think Highly Favored, you've been watching a couple of lives, but I do appreciate the subscription. Anybody else who's watching, definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 24 says, seriously, Salon is such a beautiful country. I invested in land ASAP. I'm really thinking of a business to start in Sierra Leone, and I think sustainability is the way. It might be. Definitely keep visiting though and think it through. But there are a lot of different ideas that people have, and it took me 5 years of coming twice a year, staying here 2 months at a time at one point in time to determine what businesses I wanted to start. So, sometimes it takes a little while, maybe multiple trips too. James says, Jackery and EcoFlow need electric current to charge for later use. Basically, it's a big power bank. Okay, cool. Maureen Ed says, is land purchase similar to Ghana where you lease the land for X amount of years and then renegotiate at the end of that time frame. No, it's freehold land. So when you buy it, you own it for the most part. You do buy from chiefs a lot here, or in Ghana they call it stool land because chiefs sit on stools. Similar process here. Chiefs own land, at least as far as I understand in West Africa, is kind of how it goes. Unless, of course, the land has been sold. That's a conversation for another time. But yeah, so but yeah, chiefs tend to own the land, or the families own the land, but you have to come to the chief to get the land. All right, Cash is saying, is there anything you miss about Ghana yet? There's a couple people I miss, you know, Kenya and Massa. My partners in crime, the Sierra Leoneans who live in Ghana, who own Freetown Chop House. I saw Kenya last week, and we hung out for like maybe 4 hours before she had to go to Bo and then head back to Ghana. But yeah, I do miss them. And some of the things I miss, like I had it set up there perfectly. Like it took me about 2 months to get everything set up properly. But once I did, like, you know, I liked my setup. And so I do kind of miss that. The space I had in my apartment, I miss, even though everything else, it came with other challenges. I do miss that. Great question. Renzo97 says, do you provide consulting regarding Sierra Leone? If so, what is the information you specialize in? I am starting a consulting firm, and I will do everything from opening a bank account, starting a business, buying land, getting your driver's license, hospitals to go to, doctors we recommend, rental car companies. There's a long list of things that I will be recommending and consulting about. And so anything you can think of when it comes to moving here, solar companies to select, phone companies to choose, how to set up mobile money, all of that is coming. So yes, but give me a couple weeks. I know I've been saying that for a couple weeks, but give me a couple weeks to put it into place. But I will say I am doing consultation sessions. So like if you want to do a quick session with me, an hour-long session, I will set that up, and I'll make that link available in the replay. And later on down the line, we'll talk about that when the time comes. All right. Sick Lion says, it's unfortunate that some African countries are still struggling with electricity. Who are you telling? That is so true. Cash says, any updates on your build? Yes. Just went to the site the other day. Have a vlog coming on that soon. Power is, well, EDSA, which is the electric company, is getting connected as we speak. I just need to figure out a water situation for long-term sustainable water. But yeah, we're there. Painting is almost done, but I do need to meet with my contractor. He gave me an ominous message the other day saying I need to meet with you at the site, but he wouldn't tell me what it is. You know, people don't like to give bad news here, so I don't know what he's about to tell me. I'm not looking forward to it, but I guess we'll find out something. Funky Wow Mix says, blessings to you, bro. You're highly welcome, sir. Mama Salon will definitely look after you. Enjoy, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. SS says, a wind turbine is a great addition to solar power system that can charge batteries 24/7. Yes, that is. Although some people will say it kills birds. So I hear sometimes birds fly into them. Maureen Ed says, I subscribed when I found your channel. Great. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Spirit Warrior says, you have to be chosen to freehold land in Sierra Leone. Okay, there you go. That's a good point. Miss S says, EcoFlow and Jackery also can be set up to use solar to charge. I own an EcoFlow. I'm going to have to look into these companies. George says, when are you coming back to Nigeria? That is sometime this year. Don't know what month, but I'm definitely coming back to Nigeria this year. Kabasise says, glad to be here live with you, bro. Glad that you're here as well. Fatmata says, good idea. I think on the business I was talking about. Build Salon says, like Ghana. Oh, to correct himself. Okay. Spirit Warrior says, I'm considering starting a rental car business also. That's a good business idea. And we could talk about that when you do that, because there's some other things that I'm working on that we can talk about. IS Production says, I bought 2 separate lands in Sierra Leone. I'm also done building my first land in Debia Water area. Nice. Highly Favored says, don't mean to hold you. Pray for all your journey. Thank you. Appreciate that. Dimwe, is it Dimwe? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Stay in your own country instead of going to, okay. Moving on. Sometimes I should read the messages, read the comments before I put them on screen, right? James says, what's your view on the electrical situation in South Africa? Don't know a ton, except for the fact that they do load shedding, and they don't have power as frequently as people would like. But I don't know much more than that. I do have former work colleagues and acquaintances that live there, and they used to mention load shedding to me. But you know, they had a little bit more steady light than we do here. Fatmata says, you can set up a consultancy for diasporas wanting to build their homes due to trust issues. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So that is on the list of things. My uncle and I had a lengthy conversation on Saturday, and we talked through the process, especially buying Bo and Lunge, and in Bo, buying land in Bo and in Lunge. He bought land in both places, and we talked through everything from the conveyance, surveyance, talking to the chiefs, all of that. So I have a unique circumstance, being that I am the grandson of a chief. So I have the ability to potentially make more inroads with chiefs, especially in Bo and in Kenema, because of the family name and the history. And so I definitely am going to start doing some consulting on land purchases. Okay. Funky Wow Mix says, subscribe to your channel even before knowing you're now living in Freetown. You made the right choice, bro. Blessings. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you did. Thanks for the subscription. All right. So that was one of the solutions, solar. Now, solutions for internet. I am going to set up fiber at home. So right now, my router is just a router with 4 antennas plugged into the wall, like talking about power plugged into the wall. So there is no internet connection, like Ethernet connection. So it's just straight up Wi-Fi signals. It's pulling from the air. And so that leads to many disruptions, right? You have steel doors on the door. So, you know, you have cement walls. So maybe it's having issue connecting, you know, with the internet there. Maybe the distance from the cell tower is too far away. Maybe there's too many people on the platform at the same time. There's all these different things that can cause issues with it. So there are a couple of different companies, many more than these two, but these two are the ones that I've spoken to in the last week. And of both, I've gotten pricing for. Now, these prices are going to look crazy to you because they are crazy. Okay? So in the United States, and I know I keep using the United States as a comparison, but just because that's where I lived most of my life, internet services are about $50 to $80 a month, depending on where you are in the country and what packages you have. They have a Mbps, which is megabits per second, generally over 25, sometimes as high as 50, right? And that has a lot to do with your upload and download speeds. And when you go live, you know, so like I upload a video that's 6 minutes long and it takes me 30 minutes to upload here. When I'm in the States, if it's 6 minutes, it would take 5 minutes to upload, maybe even a minute to upload. Now, that's if you're on the 3 Mbps plan. As you can see, 3 Mbps is $40 on Zen Internet. 5 Mbps is $60. 10 Mbps is $100, and 15 Mbps is $12. Now, when I was in Ghana, I had about 12 Mbps. So in between these two, and I was paying about $50 a month. So it is really, really expensive for fiber home internet here. Now that's the Zen internet package. This is the K3 internet package. K3 is a Swiss company, as far as I understand. I was speaking to the CEO the other day. We're talking through the logistics of him having someone come out and potentially do a site survey at my place to see if I can get it. This was also recommended by my cousin. And by the way, Zen Internet does work pretty well, but I know someone who has it at their office and they have it at home. At the office, they have like all these Wi-Fi extenders and all this stuff, and they're paying way more than this per month. They're paying an exorbitant amount of money, but their internet is like crisp and it's really, really good. K3, there's a guy here called Creole Bobo. He's a Caucasian American Mormon who came here to spread the Mormon gospel 10 years ago. And he fell in love with Sierra Leone. And so he has a platform called Creole Bobo. And he speaks Creole, and it sounds hilarious, especially to Sierra Leoneans. Even when he's not trying to be funny, it's funny. He's a polarizing figure to some folks, but anyway, he uses this because that's what the CEO told me, and he goes live on it, and it works well. And the CEO of K3 was telling me that maybe I should get the pro version at $99 per month for 45 Mbps, but that will ensure, as long as I have light, that I will have internet. So I'm considering it, strongly considering paying $100 a month for internet. Can you imagine? But it'll ensure that I have powerful Wi-Fi at home, no interruptions, no issues. The other solutions are additional MiFis whenever they become available, or if I have people who are coming with MiFis to deliver some unlocked MiFi devices so that I can put in an AfriCell SIM or an Orange SIM and see if that works. And then for your phone, if you want to use your phone, a lot of people say Orange is the best phone service to use because most people are using that service. And so I just mentioned that as well. So those are the solutions for internet. Now, I'll go through solutions for water, but before I do, let's get back to some of the questions. Task Force Solo says 2-part questions. How is the Bow project? Also, what are your thoughts on agriculture? Okay, really quickly, let me answer that. So the Bow House project is as follows. It's ongoing, slow moving. So there's 2 projects, right? I think you're probably talking about the 2. There's one where I bought acres. Well, we bought acres, let me say. We bought acres. It's ongoing. We have to do a lot of stuff. That's why I'm here. While I'm here, I need to go up to Bow and I need to meet with the chief and all the other people to get the process moving. The land has been purchased, but we don't actually have anything in our name. I know that's how it goes sometimes, but you got to get a lawyer to do the conveyance. You got to do a surveillance. You have a surveyor come out, all of that kind of stuff. But we're working on all of that, and that's happening while I'm here. I'm going to be there in person because the person in charge of doing it is a little bit relaxed, and I'm more on top of things. I got to get things done. And then, so yeah, and then the other house is in progress, but slow moving. But I think it'll be inhabitable by end of year, early next year. And then also, what are your thoughts on agriculture? There are a lot of challenges here in terms of machinery and knowledge transfer, but this ground is fertile for agriculture. So if you're planning to plant, this is an amazing place to do so. Highly Favorite says, okay, I bowed down to you. I appreciate that, but don't bow to me, please. But I don't even know what this is in reference to. Maybe because my grandfather was a chief, maybe, because usually you bow to chiefs. The old school did. Now people just shake their hands. But I've seen people bow to chiefs even recently. Most fiber companies are resellers, okay? Alpha Boss says you're doing an amazing job. Thank you. I appreciate it. Whoa. Philly Yardy Vibe says my Verizon is $120 a month. Is that just internet or is that phone, internet, and like Fios fiber maybe? But I had Fios fiber and it wasn't that much. So unless it's cable, internet, and phone service, like the triple play thing or whatever, or one of those things. But in general, fiber shouldn't be that much. That's not good. And maybe Philly. But you threaten to leave. That's what always works with those guys. If you threaten to leave your contract, they will magically find a service that's the same service but cheaper. Watch how that works. Funky Wild Mix says we'll definitely link you up whenever I come down to Freetown. Love your motivation, energy, very positive. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay. WM West Africa 1980 says I just got back from Sierra Leone. Nice. There was a bunch of people here recently. I didn't get a chance to catch up with everyone. Do they offer gigabit internet? Do they have something for really heavy internet usage? So to be clear, those were unlimited plans that you saw, and the Mbps is just the speed up or down. So what you're seeing here, these are unlimited packages. So they have unlimited number of gigabytes, right? But the speed upload and download speed is the megabyte packages that you're seeing there. And so that's separate. So you can also buy You can also buy gigabytes only, right? Like if you don't want to pay for an unlimited plan, you say you just want to buy like 100 gigabytes or whatever. I think in most companies that's like 300 Leon, something like that. But yes, they do. And they do have plans for heavy internet usage. They're just on the higher end, right? So yeah, I mean, because I'm one of those people, right? Heavy internet user myself for sure. Renzo 97 says, it's that easy to start an internet service out there. It's not that easy. No. It takes work, but to get one set up is not too difficult. No. Are these subscriptions Zen K3, and what means of payments are available? So I was told today you can go down to their office and pay. I'm sure you can probably pay with Orange Money or something like that. Some people buy a year up front. So they're offering plans for those who buy a year up front. I'm not buying a year up front. I'm going to pay month to month, but you'll just have a disruption of service if you don't pay. Spirit Warrior says most fiber, the upload and download is the same speed in Salon. In USA, upload speeds are much slower than the download speeds. I'm guessing you're saying, because I definitely can say, as someone who's uploaded YouTube videos, you got it. I will tell you this. Last time I was in New York, I had a bunch of content that was not even close to being edited yet. I uploaded everything to Google Drive so that I could give all of that access to my editors at a later date, because I knew it was going to take me a lot longer to upload it when I got to the continent. Highly Favored says yes about the chieftaincy thing, I think. Philly Yardy Vibe says files just top speed internet. Okay, so you pay for really top speed internet, so that's why it's 120. Got it. Highly Favored said my late dad was a chief, so I understand. Nice. Maureen Ed says how much is real estate selling for? Various prices, but look at my live about real estate. I've done a couple lives on real estate, so you can look that up and it'll give you the details there. I went into detail on that for sure, so check that out. Kevin Schaefer says, I'm in Sierra Leone now. I have 3 days left, but haven't explored much. What's your top things to visit? 3 days left. Do you care about chimpanzees? Because there's a chimpanzee sanctuary here. I would say maybe go to do a city tour if you can. You only have 3 days left. It's tough. I would say go to Bunce Island and go to the Slave Castle, but you don't have enough time for that. Go to number 2 beach. Go to the beach. Definitely go to the beach if you can. Number 2 beach is a really nice one of my favorites. I'm trying to think of what else you can do with 3 days left. Guys, give your suggestions in the chat. That's the best I have off the top of my head. How can I become a chief? You can't become a chief unless you are a family of a chief. In general, some people have become chiefs in certain ways because of philanthropic efforts. But in general, you need to be a descendant of a chief to become a chief. So for instance, the current chiefs in Bo and the different kingdoms, especially Kakua Kingdom, are of descent of a similar family tree. So they're distant family relatives of mine, the chiefs in the different kingdoms. All right, so water. Here's the solution. I was recommended a plumber last week. He came in. Now, he's looked at this. This is the tank in the front, the tank at the bottom here. The tank in the front that's dirty, that's all dirt. You can't really tell because you can't see the difference between what's dirt and what's clean. That water is really dirty, so we only use it to flush the toilets. But he recommended connecting that little valve right there, which he needs to replace, and have a valve that can pour out, so you could pour water into buckets, or a pump that pumps right up into my tank so that I can use water out of my tank from this and from the main tank. So when the Bowser comes in, the Bowser puts water and fills this tank up, and the Bowser will fill up the tank that's set for my unit. But I will need to have the plumber there once the water Bowser comes and fills it up, so that when I turn on the water, they can go and check to see if there's any leaks anywhere and help us understand if there is indeed a leak, because that was what the previous tenant said. To do the installation, it is 2,700 leones plus 500 leones, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 3,200 leones, which is about $162.61. My next door neighbor says that is too much money to set up a pump the labor, and everything. But I'm going to ask another plumber to price out these different things for me and see if the pricing is the same. And then you can always negotiate workmanship, the labor. So the 500 leones, you can always negotiate that. But some of these things you cannot negotiate the price. If the adapter is 48 leones, if the pipes that they're talking about is 240 leones, it is what it is. The pumping machine is 2,500 leones by itself. That's the most expensive thing. So, and it has to be a pumping machine because the tank is on the ground that we're pumping from, and it's going up to a tank that is above ground to then flow down into my house. So you have to buy the pump. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have things set up the way they currently are. Okay, so those are the solutions. Let me see if there's any more questions and comments before we move into the major lessons that I have learned. Okay, so Yaz Chosen says, visit Banana Island. All right. Fatmata says, can you kindly post the links for the real estate in the content section? I'd have to go on YouTube and look up the content. I don't know if I have them readily available. Let's see if I can find them quickly. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just doing a search on my channel for real estate. So I would recommend you guys do the same thing. But in the meantime, I will add one link that I know for sure was one that I think will be helpful in pricing. TPS, eco-friendly. It's called eco-friendly real estate. And it talks about eco-friendly real estate in Ghana and Sierra Leone. But then I did go through the average pricing on this. So we'll just do it here. That one for sure has it. So check that out. So you can check that out there. Spear Warrior says, what's the bar on the beach where we met? Tell them to go there. Oh, it's called Mom's. Mom's is a bar on Beach Road. So you can go there too. If you're talking about nightlife, you can go to Mom's, go to Scarlett's. Those are a couple places you can go. I would also recommend, yeah, those two are good. Alpha Boss says, actually am an aluminum fabricator based in Freetown, so please let me link up, please. Yeah, hit me up in my email. My email is right here, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, so you can hit me up on my email. Famata says, okay, I will do that. Thank you. Check out the video and then also do the search. All right, cool. All right, so let's get to the lessons that I learned, right, before we close this thing out. Okay, so Fode is asking, where can you find the best clubbing in Freetown City? Okay, it depends on who you are and what you like. There's Toma, which is more of an international crowd. There is Mom's, which is not really a club. It's more like a hangout spot. But Scarlett's is the club. Like if you want to go to a club, Scarlett is the club. It's in Laguna. Laguna, the hotel and restaurant, it's downstairs there. Scarlett's a big one. Warehouse is another big one that people like to go to. Those are like the main ones that people talk to. Vanity is more like older people, more like not as much dancing, but if you like loud music and beautiful people, Vanity is another place to go to. But Scarlett is like the go-to place, and everybody from all walks of life, people who are into illicit activities, you could tell by their big chains, and other folks. And then also just power players tend to go to Scarlett, buy tables and whatnot. So Scarlett's a good place to go for sure. Fabric shopping. Oh, you can go fabric shopping. That's another thing that you can do, whoever's the person. Fatimata says she loves Scarlett. I like Scarlett too. A lot of people love Scarlett. Many people I know love Scarlett. Trust me. I've met very interesting people at Scarlett for sure. I had a good time. I was at Scarlett the other day too. So if you saw me there, I was there. That was definitely me. All right, cool. So the major lessons that I learned, big lessons. And you can learn these lessons too. Number one, don't be cheap. Don't be cheap if you're coming here. Now, I moved into the place that I moved into because I had a number of different things, but it's also very cheap. The place is very, very cheap. We're going to split $200 to $400 a month. No, sorry, $200 a month is what we're splitting for the rent. It's very cheap. I've never, ever seen a place that cheap ever in my life, anywhere I've ever lived in my entire life. I've lived a lot of different places. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. That's another thing I will tell you. That's a lesson I learned elsewhere. I don't know why I didn't apply it here, but sometimes you have to learn the hard lessons. Ask questions. Is there water? What is the water supply? Where's the water coming from? Is there light? Do you have a backup generator? Is there internet? Do you have fiber? All right. Furnished. I say go for a furnished place. It's more expensive, but it's generally worth it because finding furniture is, obviously it's a lot of work to find furniture. But if it's furnished, ask, does it have AC? Because people will say a furnished apartment, but they don't mean it has AC. Make sure you visit the apartment first and look at it before you make a decision. And then don't take people's word for anything. People don't like to disappoint here. And so therefore they will omit important details. So those were the major lessons learned previously. Before that, I went through my solutions. And then before that, I went through the challenges. So I hope that this was useful to all of you guys out there who are watching the live. I will leave it open to ask any more questions as you have them. Let's see. Let me answer some of these or reply to some of these comments before I answer some questions. So Laguna restaurant was good. The restaurant's pretty good too. Yes, I do like Laguna's restaurant. Gladys Sheriff says, I know this place is renting, but the best alternative for water is a borehole or digging a water well. Yes, I will be doing that at my own property for sure. WM West Africa 1980 says, also make sure that the meter is working properly. Yes, for the Wi-Fi. Cash says, great checklist. Thank you. And I will be putting a checklist too together for other things too as well. Those things are all coming as part of the consulting services. So you just be on the lookout. These things are all coming. They're going to be checklists I'm putting together for everything. All right, cool. We are now an hour and 42 minutes into the live. Wow, this is a very lengthy live. And I want to thank all of you for staying on. We have averaged for the first time since literally this time last year. It was actually almost this exact time last year. We've now averaged an average of 100 people on the live at the same time. This is the first time we've had this since then as an average. I mean, it fluctuated between 100 and 105 that time. But to have this many on the live, this means that you guys found this helpful, and you guys have also been great at engaging in this discussion. So I want to thank you all for joining. Okay, Fatmata says, thank you for a great lesson. You're welcome. Miss S says, do you know anything about the government auctions for land? I do not know much about that. I will do some research on that and do lives about that later, but I don't know much about it. Fode says, how many bedrooms do you have on your property? In which property, right? So the one property that's in the Freetown area, we'll say, that one is the guest house right now is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, which was formerly the boys' quarters or servants' quarters, but I'm now calling it a guest house because I'm going to be renting it out. The main house, each floor is going to be self-contained units, and each floor will be 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, or 3-bedroom, 3.5-bathroom apartments. And then the one in Bow area, the house that's being built there is 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. And then I have land elsewhere, which hasn't been built on as of yet. Okay, any other questions while you guys are all here? Wow, this has been a really engaged live. I really appreciate all of the engaging conversations and comments and the support that a few of you have given. I really do appreciate that. 2 tips the channel has gotten, which I really appreciate. 24 and Sengbe. I want to thank you guys both for tipping the channel and really helping out here. And there are some people randomly just joining the Instagram live. If you're gonna have to watch this back if you want to catch all the new if you want to catch everything we talked about today. But you can click on the link in the description click on the link in my bio and click on that first link that says watch us live now, so that you can watch it live and you can watch the replay there as well. You know, I haven't had any water this whole time. Let's drink some water. Sorry, guys, need that water break. All right. Fatmata says, love the information. Well, good. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it was helpful to you. Any other questions? There's so many of you on here, and the same people are asking questions. None of you have more questions? Oh, shout out to Fatmata for the super sticker. Another person supporting the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. 10 euros. Is that euros? Yeah, 10 euros. I keep saying $10, but 10 euros. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so what do we got? Fatmata says, are your apartments going to be modern? You better believe it. They are going to be modern. Absolutely. So yes, in look and feel and everything. Yeah, we will spare no expense on these apartments, because one of which my mother will be living in. Others I'll have one unit myself, the top floor, and then I'll Airbnb the top floor, and then I'm renting the second floor to someone who probably would live at, let's say, that works at the embassy, because it's about 10-minute drive from the embassy. Oh, that's pounds, not euros. Sorry, I don't know what the sign is. It's my ignorance, American ignorance. Bridget said, why did you move from Ghana? Oh, Bridget, here, the answer to that question is a lengthy one. So here's what I think the best thing to do is. I will give you a link to the live, but in short, I spent more time here, more opportunities for me here, and there were just a number of different things that I was going to be able to do by moving here. So I think that's the best way to describe it. I mean, I know that's not the best answer, but that really had a lot to do with it. So let's see why I'm leaving Ghana. Here we go. So I'm gonna put this link in the chat right now. So if you want to know all the details in detail, I got very specific. It was an hour plus. Actually, it was an hour and 42 minutes. So it was a little bit shorter than this live is right now. I went into detail why I left Ghana. So let me why I left Ghana, and then link is here. You can click on that link, and that'll tell you why I left Ghana for the full explanation. Fode says, I believe when government changes, Sierra Leone will be. Oh shoot, I don't want. Fode, we can't do politics here. We don't got freedom of speech in this country. I do not want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about politics here. If you want to talk about politics in the U.S., we can do that conversation somewhere else. You got freedom of speech. You can say what you want. I'm too scared for my life to talk politics in this part of the world. I just got to be honest. I got to be honest with you guys on that. Sorry. African Accessory says, you're doing great work. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Manelik says, keep up the great work, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And shout out to Manelik. For a while, Manelik was doing all of the timestamps for my live video. So if you ever watched a live that's like an hour and 42 minutes and you see timestamps for the different parts of the live to be able to jump to different parts of it to know what I'm talking about, Manelik did like 90% of the ones that you've seen. And then Koiva, who's another one of the subscribers on the channel, who I appreciate, has also been helping out doing a couple as well. Voyages with, is it Shaisha? I hope it's Shaisha. Hopefully I'm not getting, okay, so you're saying you thought it was euros as well. So did I. I don't know, but I don't know the difference between pounds and euros, the sign. I have no idea. So maybe it is. Do you assist people with resources who are looking to repat to Sierra Leone? I will. I will be. Yes. You guys are asking for it, and I am going to definitely be doing that for sure. Fatmata says, home is where the heart is. It sure is. Bridget says, great. Okay. Oh yeah, for the video. Miss S says, looking into the John Obey area, I like some of the planned project. Is the land in that area held mostly by chiefs? That's a great question. I don't know much about what's going on there. Sounds to me like another topic. Let me screenshot this. Something to look into. I don't know the answer to that question. Gladys with the super sticker. Now that's a dollar sign. Thank you for the $20 super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, Gladys. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. So to recap, we've had a couple people support the channel. You had Gladys with the $20 super sticker. You had Fatimata with the 10-pound super sticker. You got Sengbe with the $10 super sticker. And then you got 24 with the 10-pound super sticker. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys so much for the support. This is really, really helpful. This goes towards paying all of the staff and that I have that helped me put together some of the content that you see. And by the way, this presentation took me a good 4 hours to work on today, to do some of the research and to put it together, not just today, but today and over the weekend. So, and to gather the pictures and the images and pull from the vlog that I'm doing. So I'm glad you guys found this useful and helpful. And I am glad I put that much time into it, because obviously it ended up being a fruitful discussion. Bridget says, how is the internet electricity in SL? Oh man, you got to go back and watch this live. You're going to see in real time how the internet and the electricity in SL is. So just watch the replay and you'll get the full details there. It is challenging to say the least. I mean, that's why I called this live. What I hate about living in Sierra Leone, because I went through those specific challenges. Fatmata Sano says, when do you do your lives? I go live every Monday at 9 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Fode Burrow says, Taft City Housing Project is coming up very soon in John Obey. That's something that somebody's talked about recently as well. I do want to go over there and check it out. Miss S says, thanks for all the great information and hard work. No problem. Thank you for joining and engaging in the conversation. Kevin Schaefer says, LOL, there's been 3 blackouts in Sierra Leone near embassy during this live. Oh, so you live near the embassy and you've had 3 blackouts. Shout out to near embassy blackouts. Like, you would think that the U.S. Embassy doesn't have blackout. Well, the U.S. Embassy has a generator, but near the area, you would think that there is better light service, but I guess not. I'm not even 5 minutes from it. Electricity at night is terrible due to rationing. There you go. So there's Kevin Schaefer expressing his situation and or their situation, I should say. Fatmata says, I have something that you'll be interested in. I will let you know when it is done. It will help your channel greatly. Okay, sounds good. I'm interested to hear it. Anything that can help the channel, let me hear about it. Because, man, this is a task. And for those of you who don't know, I spend about $1,000 a month on all things social media related. I know it's a lot of money, but that's what I spend. So I appreciate, and it's all out of my own pay for it, but I no longer work a full-time job. So I use all the funds I get from the consulting work I do. And, you know, that is what I use to pay for these services. And I'm not going to let up. So I've been paying it a lot. I live next door to the President Lodge and we get so many cuts. So that's Layla. So Layla lives next to the president and loses power. So you understand, you've gone through it. A lot of people in Sierra Leone on today's live. That's new. That's usually it's mostly people from just the States, but it's good to see folks locally here in Sierra Leone on the live. That's good to see. Voyages with Shaisha says, it's been forever since I caught a live. I'll go back and watch the replay. Yes, watch the replay. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, guys, we are now at 1 hour and 54 minutes. We will close this live at 2 hours. I do need to prepare. I have an interview with a very important person who actually joined the live on YouTube earlier tomorrow. I know that our interview is going to be a little later than initially anticipated, but I want to ensure that I'm refreshed and awake and full of energy for that interview, because this is an artist, one of our biggest artists in Sierra Leone. I'm not going to reveal who it is yet. I will give you a hint, though. He has done music. Actually, two artists I'm interviewing this week have done music with Idris Elba. So if you guys know who they are, great. If not, then you'll find out. But so that interview is tomorrow, and the other interview is on Wednesday. So back-to-back interviews with musicians from Sierra Leone who are doing their thing, who I've seen perform actually on multiple occasions. Both of them, I've seen them perform. And I can say they're great at the performances and the music is great. And the person I'm interviewing tomorrow especially is a real lyricist, a real MC. Like I had heard some of the music before, but like I really did a deep dive more recently, and he raps. And I'm a big fan of rap music. And I'm very critical of rappers, and he raps for real. Like some of the best I've heard in a long time, seriously. And I'm proud to say Sierra Leonean. So I'm very interested in this interview, and I'm looking forward to it. All right. Let's see. So Kevin Schaefer is saying, was searching for stuff to do in my last 3 days and found your YouTube, followed your IG, and definitely subscribing here. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad you found it. That's dope that people are finding me on YouTube. That's good. That's good to hear. Fode says, do you know Creole Bobo, the U.S. American white guy living with family right in the Western area? No, I don't know him. I know of him. I mentioned him earlier. He's the one who's using K3 internet. And the owner was like, this is why you should use it, because he uses it, he goes live, and he never has issues going live. So you should use it so you can go live. Hey, here's what I want you guys to do, actually. DM him and tell him he needs to respond to my DMs. Because I did DM him from the Authentic African Instagram page, and he didn't respond to my DMs. I'd love to interview him. You know, someone who came as a Mormon missionary, then, you know, stayed for a couple of years to do the missionary work that Mormons do, left to go to the States, came back on a number of different visits, and now looks like he's moved his entire family here. I think it's an interesting story, and I'd love to tell his story to this group and to many others. But he has not responded to my DMs. So DM him. If you guys know who he is and are familiar, DM him and tell him to respond to @AuthenticAfrican. And you can at me in the DM so that he can just click on it and go to the profile. So hopefully he'll respond and do the interview. Let him know I'm not going to come after him in any way negatively. I'm really going to do like a real interview and ask him, you know, about his move, what he loves about Sierra Leone, challenges he's had building businesses here, the same kind of interviews that I normally do. I know that there are people who, like I said, he could be a polarizing figure to some, and there are people who have a different viewpoint of him being here, but I don't have that viewpoint. I have no problem. So let him know I come in peace. Let him know I come in peace, and that he needs to respond to my DMs. All right. Sierra Leone has some very good music artists. Yes, we do. We have some great ones. And you guys will get a chance to hear from some of them too soon. I've interviewed Mellow 7 already. That interview's coming out in the next couple of weeks. That one's a really good one. I'm excited to share that with you all. He's done music with at least one of these artists, if not both of them, that I'm interviewing this week. So I'm looking forward to interviewing more people in the music industry here too, not just entrepreneurs in the traditional sense, but also people who are creatives as well. That's something I'm also really interested in doing, since, you know, I have a passion for music. All right. Looks like we're winding down on questions. James has a guest that one of the people I'm interviewing is Drizzlick, or maybe that's the person I'm Drizzlick tomorrow. You'll find out. I'm not going to say, but the hints helped you get close to figuring it out. All right, cool. I think we're winding down on the questions, and we are at 1 hour and 58 minutes. We got 2 more minutes for questions, comments, and thoughts before we draw this thing to a close. And I do still need to call my sister and my mother this evening. And it's 11 o'clock almost. So yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, any other questions or comments before I go and make some phone calls to mi familia, or mi fambu, I should say. Instead of saying it in Espanol, I should say it in Creole, right? To mi fambu. What do you guys think? 6 hours ago. 10 hours ago. Yeah, any more questions? Sorry. It looks like some people are starting to drop off. They know that we're coming to an end. Any more questions before we go? You know what always happens? I mention this every time we end the live. Right after I hit end broadcast, a question comes on. So I'm going to give it 1 more minute, and then we're going to close this thing out. So Fatmata says, stay strong and be positive while in Sierra Leone. Absolutely. And again, let me just say this before I go. I want to tell you guys, I love being in Sierra Leone. The things that I talked about as challenges and that I hate are things that I dislike for sure. But, you know, I really do love being here, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's the best decision I've ever made. Moving to the continent of Africa was the best decision I ever made. Living in Ghana was great, and it gave me a lot of context for where we can go as a country here in Sierra Leone, and just some of the challenges, and I learned a lot working there. But coming here, I think, has been already a fruitful endeavor, even with the challenges that we're seeing so far. But I'm really happy to be here, and I wouldn't change it for the world. James says, try to get an interview with Vicky Rameau. I've tried. DM Vicky too. DM Vicky Rameau and tell her that I want to interview her, because I'd love to interview her. Unfortunately, she has not responded favorably to an interview. I tried to interview her in Ghana when I was living in Ghana. I first got to Ghana. And the reason for not doing the interview at the time was the global sickness. And she was worried about that. I don't know if that's an issue now, but yeah, anybody you guys want me to interview, DM them and tell them they should do an interview with me for sure. IAS Production has a guest that is Kyle De Niro. That's a good guess. Not saying who, but that's a good guess. That's another one of our artists who's traveled and done some stuff internationally. Antonio's asking, how's the food? The food's amazing. I'm eating only vegan versions and options, but yeah, I mean, I love Sierra Leonean food. Our jollof rice is the best in West Africa. Hands down, no question. So that's one. That's all I need to say right there. That's it. Layla says, the trash is one of the worst for me. I love Sierra Leone, so happy I moved here. Nice, Layla. Well, congrats on the move. Depending on where you're from, I'd love to interview you. Anybody who's moved here from the diaspora to Sierra Leone, I'd love to interview them on their move. Oh, that Mr. Miyagi didn't work that time. Didn't catch it. Okay. African Accessory says, interview ES, who is also a Sierra Leonean. She currently is in Ghana. Okay. Shoot me a DM with ES's info. I don't know who ES is, but I would love to. Fatmata says, where do you buy your vegan foods? So I just buy my foods as is and then just make them vegan. So, my housekeeper buys everything for like groundnut soup, for instance. She made groundnut soup last week, and she bought cabbage, carrots, peas, onions, potatoes, and then plantains, and we boiled them. And that is what I'm eating with my groundnut soup. And sometimes I eat it with couscous. Sometimes I eat it with white rice. I'm trying not to eat any more white rice, but that was what was available at that moment. But I am usually eat mostly like brown rice or wild rice that's not as starchy. Antonio says, I hear the beaches are breathtaking in Sierra Leone. Some of the best in the world, actually. You're right about that. Seems like every restaurant be out of jollof rice at the same time. And then a lot of restaurants don't even serve jollof rice, which I don't even understand. But yeah, you're right. They do run out of jollof rice. I mean, it's a favorite, right? Everybody eats jollof. What are the opportunities in Sierra Leone? Man, that is another question that I have a live about. So you want to check out that video too. There's a video I did on the best business to start in Sierra Leone. And then there's another video I did on why it's difficult to do business in Sierra Leone. And both of those videos, I go into opportunities for business. Okay, Fatmata says, okay, thanks. James says, interview Agnes Pratt. I don't know who that is, but DM that information to me and DM them and tell them I should interview them. Bulgar is good. Okay. And then Layla says, I'm not from the diaspora. I'm a French Moroccan, moved here to teach. It's my first experience in sub-Saharan Africa, and I love it so far. That's still an interesting story, though. Moving from France and being Moroccan, that's an interesting story. So nonetheless, well, you are diasporan, right? You're just not a diasporan of Sierra Leone, but you're a diasporan of the continent. So that'd still be interesting. I'd love to interview you, actually. So if you're open to it, definitely if you're open to it, shoot me an email or a what do you call it? A DM. But anyway, I'm just making a note to reach out to you. Excavation industry. Don't know much about excavation, but it could be interesting. All right, we're 5 minutes over. This is DIY House and Farm, ES's channel. Okay, so I'm gonna just screenshot that. Okay, Layla says exactly, sure. I don't speak French, but merci for agreeing to do the interview. So yeah, so DM me or shoot me an email. And then we can definitely talk because I'd love to interview you about your experience. And that's a different perspective. I got Saudi Arabia recently. I'd love to get French Moroccan as well. Okay, cool. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining the live. There's still so many of you, still 82 people still on YouTube. Actually, I wouldn't say YouTube. I don't know. Across platforms. One person on Twitch. Shout out to the one person on Twitch. And a couple people still on Instagram Live. So I want to thank you guys all for joining the live. This has been another amazing live. I appreciate all the engaging content or comments and questions. You guys have been great. So yeah, I will see you guys all in the next video. The next video comes out on Thursday, but I have some clips coming out from the birthday vlog. So check those out. Go back and check out the birthday vlog videos. Go back and check out my move video and make sure you pay attention and turn on all the alerts and notifications for the channel. Make sure you share this with at least 3 people you know that are planning to visit or move to Sierra Leone. They need to know these things. If they're planning to stay in an Airbnb or they're planning to move here, send this to them. So at least 3 people you know, send this to 3 people you know. And then, of course, share this on your WhatsApp status. Share this on your Instagram stories. Share it wherever you can. Make sure that people get a chance to see this. And with that, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you all on the next video.